Welcome to Not What I Thought. I'm Erika.
I'm Yolanda.
And I'm Becca. We're therapists, entrepreneurs, and perfectly imperfect humans.
We first met during a business owner retreat where we became fast friends because we're not afraid to be real and ask the hard questions about life. What we thought it would be like, how messy it actually is, and the courage it takes to create the life we want.
We continue to build our friendship and personal growth through our own retreats. We find the deepest connection in sharing our struggles and finding what we have in common rather than what divides us.
We're breaking down hard topics on our podcast and together have conversations about what it takes to find real talk, real support, and real rest for professional women. We're glad you're here. Join us on your favorite podcast platform. All right, y'all. My Not What I Thought for today is I want to talk about being an entrepreneur. And this, I have been somewhat reluctant to accept that label for myself. And I had this idea because, okay, so if I go back to why I started my own business in the first place, it wasn't like, oh, I want to be a business person. It came from, there's a particular type of client that I want to serve. This is the work that I want to do. And I know that the best way to do that is if I have my own therapy practice. And so it seemed very practical. And I would see these things about, being an entrepreneur or news articles or whatever and think like, that's not for me. Right. And I had this idea that an entrepreneur is like, I don't know, a tech bro or somebody who has a totally new product or is, I don't know, really confusing ideas, right? Because on the one hand, there's this sense that the entrepreneur is the head of this giant company, some kind of, multinational company,
Mm-hmm.
or the entrepreneur is like a serial failure that they keep starting businesses that don't work or whatever. Anyway, I think there were a lot of things that I sort of pushed aside, like that's not for me. I'm not an entrepreneur. And it took a while for me to like accept that label. And I just wanted to talk about that a little bit today.
Mm-hmm.
On like what it actually is and maybe some of why that's hard to own. But I am. I'm an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, can I ask Becca, like from where you said the difference between business owner and entrepreneur? And was the title of business owner easier for you?
I think business owner was a little bit easier, but still felt like if I called myself a business owner, I was maybe being mm, too big for my britches a little bit, or
Mm.
like I'm inflating myself to call myself a business owner when really like, especially when I first started, like it's just me and my therapy clients. Like, like maybe I am trying to make myself sound better or more impressive than I actually am by calling myself a business owner or calling myself an entrepreneur or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was my curiosity where the resistance comes in to either of those, I guess, business owner or entrepreneur.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, I don't know. It just like didn't, what I was doing with my little therapy practice
Mhm.
did not feel like it fit my mental image of what a business owner, who a business owner is or who an
Mhm.
entrepreneur is. And so there was this kind of disconnect
Mhm.
on, okay, but I'm not that.
Has that shifted since you have become a group practice owner and have employees?
Yes, I think so. Yeah, I think it's shifted. And some other things that shifted for me were maybe having some experiences where I was talking to not only other therapy practice owners, but just other business owners.
Mhm.
And like I'm remembering this conference that I spoke at a couple years ago. I was invited as a mental health person to come talk to this group of like physicians. It was a
Mhm.
wellness conference for physicians. And there were a couple of events there where they had like a dinner for all the presenters, and because it was a multi-day conference. Um, and so going into that, I definitely felt a lot of imposter syndrome type stuff. Like
Mm.
these are all like people who run hospitals, and these are tech
Mhm.
CEOs, and these like, and those legitimately were tech CEOs, right? Like what am I doing
Mhm.
here, right?
Mhm.
I'm not going to have anything to talk about. I'm going to, stand out like a sore thumb or whatever. And then I have this experience of sitting with these folks and just like listening to the conversations that were happening over dinner or at the cocktail
Mhm.
hour or whatever, and going, oh, I not only can I follow the conversation, but I
Mhm.
actually can participate. I have things to say. While the specifics of our businesses are different,
Mhm.
the themes around some like managing employee stuff and customer relation stuff, and
Right.
strategies that you use for marketing and growth, and how do you decide when is the right time to grow, and all those kind of things, was like, oh, I actually not only can follow the conversation, but I can contribute and participate. And like, wow, maybe I do fit in here more than I
Mhm.
would have expected that I did, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons that I asked about the employee piece is out of curiosity is the employee piece part of what quote unquote legitimizes being an
Mm,
entrepreneur or a business owner. I'm just thinking back to when I was, you know, solo practitioner, employee of one myself.
yeah.
But how a lot of us tend to use that royal we or, or use in copywriting for our websites and stuff. It's like at, at this business, we,
Like, it's just me.
it's just me,
Yeah.
You're
me,
the only
myself, and
one.
I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that is part of it for sure. The employee part, legitimizing. And then like I went and looked up as I was preparing the topic for today. I was like, what even is an entrepreneur? Like, can I get a
Right.
definition? Right?
Yeah.
Um, and here's a definition that Google AI gave me. Um, it's an individual who creates and manages a new business, taking on risks and rewards associated with it. They are often innovators who identify opportunities and develop new products or services, unlike simply managing an existing business.
Hmm.
Like, oh, okay. And I think I had this other idea with being an entrepreneur meant that you were doing something entirely new.
Hmm.
And so since I was starting a couples therapy practice, and it's like I didn't invent the idea of couples therapy. I didn't invent the idea of having a couples therapy practice where you come see
Hmm.
my office, like that I couldn't claim that as something new, right? Because I'm not an entrepreneur. I'm just doing something that other people have done. But my business, the way that I set it up, the way that I structure it, even the fact that it exists and I don't work for someone else, like that makes me an entrepreneur. That makes me a business owner.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I was thinking that even though, yes, of course, you didn't create couples therapy, but you did specifically create the type of couples therapy you do in particular,
Hmm.
the way that you structure your business and your policies and your procedures and, all the clinical piece. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Well,
I'm
I like,
thinking, go ahead, Erica.
oh, I was gonna say, I like the example you gave earlier on about it seems like it has to do with a product, right? To be an entrepreneur, you are
Mhm.
creating a product or distributing a product. But even that, I'm thinking to like Shark Tank, which was probably my idea of an entrepreneur.
Yes.
Mhm.
And even Bombas is like one of their biggest products they've ever had on Shark Tank, and it's socks, right? Like they didn't invent socks, you know.
Right.
So even it applies into these other things that we already have a picture in our mind of. It's not a brand new thing that ever existed. It's their branding, it's their style, it's their
Hmm.
philanthropy where they give a sock for every sock you buy or however
Mhm.
that works, right? Like it's
Yeah.
their whole thing together that makes it a new business.
Yeah.
Well, I think it does speak also to what, kind of something that underlies that many of us experience is this imposter syndrome thing. Certainly I can't be a business owner, an entrepreneur. I only dot, dot, dot. I'm just dot, dot, dot.
And how many times did I say that? Just me and my little practice.
I know I almost said something. I almost said something like the third or fourth time that you said it. I wasn't keeping track, but I was like, this is many times.
Mhm, mhm. I heard it as I was saying it.
Yeah, yeah,
And I think about, at least for me, the very gendered context
yeah.
that I was in when I was a, teen into my early to mid 20s. And like the people who were business owners who would say that that's what they did were almost always male. And it was a person who maybe had multiple employees and like this is what they did. They founded some company that did whatever XYZ thing, right? Um, and the women who were maybe doing baked goods out of their home or running a
Hmm.
preschool or
Hmm.
um, making and selling jewelry or, whatever those things were, having a cleaning business, whatever, that they
Hmm.
weren't talked about in the same way. It was like that was the family's extra income,
Hmm.
or that was just like she had a part-time job, or
Hmm.
do you know what I
Side
mean? Like
project.
the,
Yeah,
Or
the
a
women
hobby, even.
or a hobby.
yeah,
Yes, yes.
yeah,
We just didn't use the same language
yeah,
to talk about women who were self-employed the same way we talked about men who were self-employed, which definitely fit into this perception for me that like, oh, well, but what I'm doing isn't that,
yeah,
even though it is.
yeah. It doesn't count.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm also thinking about the other end of the example that you gave, right? So it's not this multi-million-dollar corporation, but then it's also not I'm trying to remember exactly how you phrased it, but the other end of the entrepreneur experience is this chronically like
Chronic failures. Yeah.
failures in business attempts. So
Yeah.
it's almost like, well, it's too successful to be that, but not successful enough to be that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so
Yeah.
then maybe there's these ways that I hold myself back, that I go into spaces with less confidence because I
Hmm.
don't feel like I belong here.
Hmm.
Or I say things like, well, it's just my little therapy practice.
Well, can I ask about what you were describing about the conversations that you were having when you spoke at this conference? Because
Mhm.
that was before the conference. That was like a pre-conference speaker meal.
Uh, I think there was one that was before the conference, and then there might have been another dinner that was, or a cocktail hour or something that was after.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And do you remember if you had some of these experiences of like keeping pace, for lack of a better way of describing it, with the conversations before you spoke?
Um, I don't recall.
Hmm. I'm just curious if that were the case, if that shifted how you showed up on stage.
Oh, I don't think so. I think if anything, when I think about that presentation, I was really proud of what I did
Hmm.
in my presentation. It turned out to be really good and fit the audience very well. And I was getting very nice feedback
Mm.
from some of the other people that was like, thank you, that,
Mm.
it was spot on. This one woman was like, uh, she said something about that, like, of all of the, whatever health and wellness things, like that was the most impactful one that she'd ever
Mm.
heard. Oh, thank you.
Oh, that's
So that
awesome.
might have helped in the
Sure.
subsequent, is that like, oh, I did my thing. People liked
Hmm.
it. Then
Hmm.
maybe I feel a little more like I
Hmm.
get to have a seat at the table. I don't know. Even though I literally had a seat at the table.
Literally, yeah.
Literally.
Probably had your name on it, even.
I don't recall that, but yes, like there was a spot for me.
Well, you did have the name tag that said speaker.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
So it sounds like some of those thoughts were going in before you were even there, but you
Yes.
acclimated really quickly, it sounds like, to the to like, hey, yeah, I can be involved in these conversations.
Hmm. Hmm. And I wanted to talk a little bit too about like risks and rewards of being an
Hmm.
entrepreneur. Because we've been talking about this, the way that my perceptions were really gendered. And so I felt like I didn't fit in.
Mhm.
But even beyond that, the more that I have interacted with and talked with other people who are entrepreneurs, it's like there is this, there, yeah, are real risks and rewards to it. And sometimes maybe when we're in the spot of feeling the risks, we're feeling the
Mhm.
downsides that we forget that the rewards are awesome, right?
Mhm.
Or perhaps when people from the outside see us enjoying the rewards, they think that that's all it is. And we're like, oh
Right.
no, but there are these other parts.
Oh no, au contraire.
Woo, being self-employed, running your own business is not for the faint of heart.
It's a roller coaster. It
Yes.
is a roller coaster.
Yeah. Yeah. So like on the risk part, I think one of the hardest things is can be unstable income that
For
you
sure.
typically, at least starting out, you don't have like a set salary. Um, and I know for a lot of people that like riding the ups and downs can be riding the financial ups and downs can be tricky,
Mhm.
especially if you have like a really great month or a great year and you start thinking that like, oh, well, every year is going to be like that and you kind of expand into that as your new budget, but then then you the lower months can be real hard if you
Mhm.
An employee quits and decides
You're
to go do their
right.
own thing.
yes, unstable income for sure.
Sure. And yeah, sometimes it's year to year, like you're talking about, but as we all know, sometimes it's month to month. Like
Month to
some of us
month.
live in hurricane zones,
Yeah.
wildfires over there. I mean, like
Mhm.
make it happen that really can throw you significantly off, right? Like
Mhm.
changes.
Yeah, the this last presidential election did a number on us for I mean, our income dropped by half
Mhm.
for the
Wow.
months
Mhm.
surrounding the election. And that's the only thing that I can figure out could account
Mhm.
for what happened to all our coins during that
Mhm.
time. Like people were just scared. And
Mhm.
when they're scared, they cut back on
Mhm.
expenses that are non-essential, like therapy.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think for the three of us couple, what you're saying with we're in the service industry, we're in a service industry that many people, that's a first cut when things get tight financially. Yeah.
sure, for sure. Yeah. Um, and also like some other risks or downsides to being an entrepreneur is like at the end of the day, it's all on you.
Mhm.
Like, you're the one in charge. There's nobody that you go to be like, hey, this problem over here and like pass it off. And that other person, Yolanda's face.
I know. I was just gonna say that. I'm pretty sure giving Yolanda some anxiety over there. Her eyes got very big. And then really,
Ah, yep. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Tell me again what's good about this?
We'll get there.
I'm just joking. I'm just joking. Um, yeah, I mean, to what you were saying, Becca, this is where, from the outside, if people are looking, they're like, well, they're just living the best life and maybe not understanding the day-to-days of this.
Mhm.
And I think also, as I'm thinking of like what we've said before in the gender roles, um, is that a lot of us as women aren't necessarily, because this is big leadership type things.
Mhm.
And a lot of us historically haven't had as many opportunities to step into spaces of leadership as some of our male entrepreneurial, counterparts. So that definitely can leave me feeling a little off kilter from time to time.
Right. And there's this whole
that
other
plus,
part.
oh, sorry, I was gonna say, I think that plus historically being financially responsible for the household, right? So it's like in combination of may not feel like we have the experience to do it or the examples to learn how to do it. But also if you mess up your baking out of the house business, then like you're probably not gonna not be able to pay your mortgage, right? Um,
Mhm.
but now we're moving into different spaces where yeah, that might be true.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mess it
Yeah.
up, like what's gonna happen?
Yeah. And I think there also is a lot more forgiveness for
Mm-hmm.
male entrepreneurs for failure, right? That's kind of an expected part that they may have multiple businesses that
Mm-hmm.
don't quite take before
Mm-hmm.
they really hit a success. And I just don't think that there is that much latitude for female entrepreneurs. So if your first business isn't a smashing success, then see, you shouldn't have done this.
Right.
It's not for you. You should just like quit and go home.
Where as a man, oh, how ballsy that, he took what
Yeah.
he learned the first time, the first go around and
Yeah.
made something new. Yeah.
Yeah. And like there's real fear in this experience, right? Like sometimes it's the things that you think about late at night in your bed in the dark. That's
Mm-hmm.
like, you know, what happens to my family? What happens to my employees? What if
Mm-hmm.
everything, falls apart tomorrow? Or
Mm-hmm.
some shift happens in my industry and we can't earn like we used to, then what do I do?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's on you to figure
Mm-hmm.
out. And that's scary and that weighs. And we look about something like taking vacations.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when you're the entrepreneur and you're the business owner, you go on vacation and you don't get to just take time off, really. Like you can,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not like there's someone else that fills in for you while you're gone.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You have to prep that things are going to run smoothly if you're going to be gone. I just came back from 3 weeks away, so this is very fresh
Mm-hmm.
on my mind,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like I
Mm-hmm.
had to do so much preparation to
Mm-hmm.
be gone from my business for 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And coming back, it's not like I just, if I were a shift worker, oh, I just stepped back in. Stuff happened
Mm-hmm.
while I was gone, right? It's like I have 3 weeks worth of stuff that I've got to, catch up on. And I'm factoring in not only like the paying of the bills, but the marketing and like how is me being gone going to
Mm-hmm.
impact my business? And that's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. Yeah.
Well, Becca, I'm also appreciating. I mean, you named two really significant things. And what I appreciate about our relationships with one another is that the three of us went through COVID together with our businesses.
We did.
And post COVID, there have been some pretty significant shifts in the mental health field
Mhm.
that the three of us have really like supported one another through.
Mhm.
Um, and so I am appreciating the two of you in all of that, and also knowing that not every female entrepreneur might have this type of support system, because it can feel at times so siloed.
Which we come back around again to like if there's a theme that runs through so many of these episodes, it's like
Yeah,
have community, have people.
yeah,
Like we can't do this alone.
right.
Yeah.
Well, and there's a trust in this community between the three of us and
Mhm.
then to a larger community that we came from, right? But yeah, we had to be able to come on and say, my numbers have dropped by half. I don't know what policy to implement for this thing. Like, what do
Mhm.
we do? And then we were able to talk it out and have trust that that doesn't mean, oh, you're going to think I'm a failure because my revenue went down by half.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then if we flip over to talk about rewards,
Please.
benefits of being, please, Yolanda's like, get me
Please
out of
remind
this.
us what those are, Becca.
Please.
I was just talking about that I got to take a 3 week vacation,
Yes. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I didn't have to accrue PTO for that. I didn't
Right.
have to ask anybody's permission. Like I decided that I wanted to take that trip and it took planning and coordination, but like I can just do that
Hmm.
and make that happen, right? And there's so much freedom too to be able to shift what is working and not working for you.
Hmm.
I've talked on other podcast episodes about getting divorced. And
Hmm.
at the start of all of that, it was like, I should not be seeing couple clients right now. Like, I'm not going to
Hmm.
be a good couples therapist while I am in the midst of all of this like grief anger and confusion about my own relationship.
Mhm.
And I didn't have to go find a new job. I
Mhm.
have the freedom and the flexibility that, like, oh, I could hire another person and have them see couples and let me shift the work
Mhm.
that I am doing. And I really get to create my job to be the things that I am best suited for, right? Because
Mhm.
I can hire and outsource
Mhm.
to somebody else the stuff that I'm not as well suited to. And I think in a great work environment, you would have a boss who would understand that and give you job duties that are tailored to your strengths, but that's not a guarantee.
Mhm. I'm really appreciating us having um, some conversation about these rewards too, because I know for myself, I can get so kind of focused on the responsibility side of being an entrepreneur and a business owner, um, that can kind of overshadow sometimes the benefit. So I love this reminder.
And I know if I'm going to put words in your mouth, Yolanda,
Hmm.
you do work with your clients that you are so good at and that really follows like where your passion and skill is. And I think that's not just a compliment of like, oh, you're a great therapist, but also like that is one of the rewards of being an entrepreneur is that you get to create an environment where
Hmm.
I only do work that I love.
Hmm. Yeah.
And I get to go to work every day and feel awesome about my work because I'm doing work that's really well suited to where my interests
Hmm.
are and where my skills are.
Hmm.
And that's something that I think when we're working for other people, like I said, sometimes it happens,
Right.
but sometimes you get job duties that you don't want, or you
Right.
have to take a position that's like sort of okay, but
Hmm.
right.
Yep.
And also, when you're the entrepreneur and you're the business owner, you get to decide who you work with. You choose
Yeah.
your team.
Yeah.
You don't
Yeah.
just get hired. Or, if
Yeah.
there's like a new hire comes on, it's not like you get stuck with this new person that you didn't get to choose. Like I handpicked every single person that works for me, and
Right.
that's real cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Love
that in
it.
the process is peace. Like, yes, the clinical work, we get to
Yeah.
do what we love to do for ourselves, but then the process is I choose for my business to have the simplest process from A to B as I can, and that's like a
Mm-hmm.
value of mine and a goal. And I think my employees appreciate that as well. And I explain the intent and purpose behind it, and then there's buy-in to that. So that's pretty neat too when you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
That not only am I making my life easier, but I get to make other people's lives easier so they can do better clinical work so that we
Mm-hmm.
can all make more money and, help people. Like it all trickles down, right? Every decision that we make hopefully is trickling down in the way we want it to.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this other way I think that I really appreciate about being an entrepreneur where I get to create my life the way that I want to. And one of those things is I don't actually earn as much money potentially as I
Mm-hmm.
could.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, Not only in my business, but also just like in my career. If I really was money focused, I could earn more money doing something else.
Yeah.
Um, and like these are trade-offs that I've made because I get to take time off whenever I want.
Mm-hmm.
I have to
Yeah.
plan for it. I have to account for it in my budget and all that stuff, but I don't, like I said, I don't have to accrue PTO and ask for permission and whatever. Like I can just create that if I want to. And
Mm-hmm.
being available to my kids really matters a lot to me. And so like I get to go to all of the award assemblies and
Mm-hmm.
my kids are on summer break right now. And like I can bring them to work with me if I want, or I can
Mm-hmm.
choose to spend less time working
Mm-hmm.
when they're with me and I just work more hours when they're with their
Mm-hmm.
dad. Um, because that matters to me. And I get to do that, right? All the employees that work for me, I at least as far as I can tell, my current team, like everybody loves working here.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel really proud of that because like
Mm-hmm.
Erika was saying, like I've set up systems that support them
Mm-hmm.
and help take the I've done everything that I can to take the annoying parts of this field and the annoying
Mhm.
requirements and minimize them as much as possible,
Mhm.
right? And again, that's not something that everybody gets, that you get to
Yeah.
work with a team that you love. Like I genuinely like every person that
Mhm.
works for me. That's that's
Mhm.
awesome, right? And like I'm happy with those trade-offs that I've chosen. And before we started recording, I was talking about the trip that we just came back from, and that, my perception is that we did it on the cheap. And that also is a trade-off that I'm willing to make, because I got to go have this really cool experience
Mhm.
for nearly 3 weeks with one of my kids. And we did it on a smaller budget, but I would rather do that
Mhm.
than have to squish something into only 1 week
Mhm.
because I can't afford to take time off, or I'll lose my job if I don't.
Yeah.
There's just these things that I think stopping to look at the trade-offs
Mhm.
and the benefits and go, no, like I chose this. Right?
Mhm.
Um, just, yeah, it makes a difference.
Yeah, with all the challenges that come with owning a business, I would never want to work for somebody else. I'm spoiled now, so
Yes, for sure. I was thinking that too.
Yeah.
Would not make a good employee.
Why not?
Oh. Well, I think because I am so used to calling the shots and being the one making the decisions, and the flexibility piece that you were saying, Becca. I mean, as you were talking, what came to me is that, recently, well, I can't even say recently, there's not been these bigger trips because there's been that too, right? And I'm also recognizing like the flexibility day to day, and how different that would be if I were working for someone else. Um, so yeah, and other people don't structure things the way, don't prioritize the things that necessarily I value the most. That's one of the reasons I opened my own practice. There's a different way, and from the way I see things, a better way to do it.
Anything else either of you want to say about what it's been like for you to be an entrepreneur?
feel like I don't have anything particularly insightful. I feel like you hit all the good points.
It's been quite a journey, hasn't it? I don't hesitate as much to call myself a business owner or an entrepreneur. Becca, what does your heart know to be true?
If I'm thinking bigger than just being an entrepreneur, my heart knows that I really need to stop and question anytime I think something is not for me. There's
Mhm.
probably something more there, for me to unpack, um, because I may find that the thing like entrepreneurship that I think is not for me is actually perfectly suited for me.
Mhm.
What does your heart know, Yolanda?
My heart knows that I can lean more into the rewards of entrepreneurship, and um, allow those to prioritize those as much as I focus on some of the more difficult moments. I think that I, in some ways, have gotten into a little bit of a rut around some more of the challenges without acknowledging some of the benefits that are right there alongside of it. So I really appreciate this conversation.
Yeah. What does your heart know, Erica?
My heart knows that I think actually separating from the label of being a business owner has helped me in exploring what it's like to be a business owner with my husband, to be able to share the risks and benefits, the challenges, things that I might be dealing with. Whereas, maybe I used to just say, well, you just don't get it, what it's like to be a
Mm,
business owner. And now trying to lean into, here's the part of being a business owner that's difficult, and here's what I'm dealing with. And the both and of it, I wouldn't give it up.
mm, wouldn't give it up. Glad to be on the journey with you both.
Okay.
Always.
Love you.
We're so happy you've been listening to the podcast, and we want to make sure you love it. If there's a topic you want us to address, you have a question about one of our episodes, or you want to share your own Not What I Thought experience, we want to hear from you. Record a voice memo or email us at hello@notwhatithought.com.
Really, take out your phone now, record, send us a message.